welcome back to the show, everyone. Today we're diving into the world of hot rods, innovation, and one of the most influential figures in automotive history, Ed Iskenderian, the man many simply know as Isky. And we're honoured to be joined by Cheyanne Kane, the creator of the new documentary Isky, which explores Ed's extraordinary life from his early days as a young tinkerer in California to becoming a pioneer whose camshaft innovations helped shape modern drag racing and the entire hot rod culture. So whether you're a lifelong gearhead or totally new to the world, the conversation will be packed with great stories, creative insight, and a remarkable look at a true American hero. So let's jump in. It's nice to meet you, Cheyanne. Thank you very much for being on the show again.
Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So I watched the documentary and it's fantastic. So let's just start. Very interesting. So let's start at the beginning, because this really got me going. What first inspired you to make a film about Ed Iskenderian?
Well, I've always had a love for cars.
Mm-hmm.
I myself have a 2020 special edition of the Mustang Bullet. If you know, yes, okay.
Yeah.
First, I have to ask you, are you a gearhead?
Not a full gearhead, but I do know some cars, and when everyone says that kind of Mustang, I'm like, oh, that's nice. There are some which just stand out, and you're just like, wow.
Right. Yeah, no, it's a great everyday car. It's so fun to drive. I love the sounds. I also have a 1929 Ford Highboy Roadster,
Okay.
and I even have a 1968 GT 500 Ford Mustang, the Shelby original. Yeah, so
Right.
I like to go to the garage and just look at the cars.
That original Shelby is one that I do love. It's such a perfect shape on it, and
Right?
yeah, but there's someone around here in the UK who's got one, and to bring to the car shows, and the engine. It's like when you turns the engine on to go, and it just slightly. Everyone's heads just turn because it's just this almighty roar and a purr. It's like, wow.
Exactly.
Nothing
Yeah.
like.
So maybe it was fate. I got to meet him.
Hmm.
And when I met Ed and got to hang out with him, I thought, oh my gosh, has nobody really ever done a documentary about this man? So, I,
Yes, the way to get in there. I mean, it is fascinating. Like we just mentioned, he's now 104 years old, and he's been doing this. Is it 80? Must be what, 80 odd years he's been in this industry.
well,
Maybe longer. It's longer than, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, 13, 12 years old when he first saw those cars.
Yeah,
And yeah,
brilliant.
it's very inspiring.
I can imagine. Yeah, I mean, I was pretty much watching it and seeing how he gets on. So it's just amazing. And so, for people who might not know him or have heard of him, how would you describe his impact on the automotive world and hot rod culture? We just slightly started on decades of.
Right. Well, I mean, geez, his impact on the automotive world and the hot rod culture, I would just say is the whole shebang. He was ahead of his time, I believe, with the marketing on so many levels. Just one example with what he put on t-shirts, very much into speed. His his innovations as an engineer.
Hmm.
Having a shop, having both men and women working in his shop. It was never about, being a man or a woman. It was just about
But
learning the
passion and
job.
love.
Yeah. The interest, the love for it. I would say, definitely his focus on speed exploded, and that is, it's just really over 100 years. He's the legend of speed.
Definitely, definitely. The impact, you say his name's we know, when you look into that area and that world of racing and hot rod racing, everywhere you see is Iskandar.
Right. It spans in the United States. We got to film in London actually
Hmm.
when he was awarded a lifetime achievement.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in London, which is some beautiful footage of that and stills. In Japan,
Hmm.
we had our premiere in Milan, Italy,
Nice.
at the 40-something-year-old film festival. So yeah, when I was also we went to Palermo. There were people
Hmm.
there from Russia. I met people from Japan. He is world known, and
Yeah,
his influence it continues to inspire us today.
definitely, definitely. No, since I saw it as well, and since I've since heard the name, when I've gone to like the garage, local garage and stuff, which I had to because I got a flat tire when I drove to London on Friday, which was great. Not. You can see that there are signs to Iskandarian stuff in some of these garages as well because they just have them up. Even vintage ones, some of them collect them,
Really?
which are really cool. So they do have them, which
Oh
is
my gosh. Well, I can't wait to go there. We haven't screened in London yet, so
yeah. Well, yeah, that'd be fantastic. Let me know when you do because I'll come down.
definitely, definitely.
Right. So obviously the film uses rare archival footage and interviews. So was there a moment of discovery during that research which really surprised you? I mean, you kind of know him in a way, so but is there anything that really kind of got you?
Right. There's obviously more than one moment, but I will say that a moment that to this day gives me goosebumps, whether I'm watching the film or thinking about it, is when he told me about the Winfield tapes
Oh yeah.
and the time that, they spent together. And really surprising when he said, "Oh, I have them." And I said, "Where?" And he said, "We'll have to find them."
Mm,
So we went on a little journey to find the tapes. And well, that really surprised me too when we did find them. And the moment of him listening to the tapes. So because he hadn't listened to them, or I'm sure he thought about them, I can't say one way or the other, but
mhm,
it did come up in our conversations. Oh yeah, well, I did this with Winfield and I recorded them. So I asked him, "Have you listened to these for how long has it been?" It was over 40 years.
wow.
So the moment, when he's listening to those tapes,
Hmm.
whew, I.
Yeah, I can imagine the chills of. You can actually seeing the expression because obviously you filmed that when he was listening to them, and you can see the emotion in him is just there as he's just taken straight back to that time.
Right.
That was an amazing moment because I was looking at it and watching, and where you said when he found those tapes, it was where he found those tapes, and when he just casually said he bought this stuff from this state, and he's just kept it locked in here for 40 odd in the in the boot of an old car. Really? You haven't even
Exactly.
opened it in 40 years.
Exactly, and they worked perfectly. I mean, can I tell you, because I actually have a cassette player,
Right.
believe it or not, because I that kind of thing I think is cool.
Hmm.
Anyway, I stuck it in, and it played no problem immediately. Immediately.
Yeah.
So even that, just that in itself was just such that it was, for lack of other words, so surprising.
Well, yeah, exactly. It gives testament to the car. I can't remember which make of car he had it in, but it gives testament to how good that car is for keeping water for
Exactly.
so many years. And even the paperwork that he said, because he was talking about all his paperwork and all his private papers and patents, and I was like, and he's just keeping them there in a car, in rusting car boot. It's like,
And they're in perfect condition.
they
I mean,
are.
it's 40 years old, but, perfect condition. The image that he found of Winfield that he finds in the car as
Yeah.
well. I have never seen that on the internet because there are, you can find a lot of the archival footage on
Hmm.
the internet, maybe not the high resolution, but so
Yeah.
many people have these wonderful, wonderful photos, images from that
Hmm.
time. I don't think I ever saw that particular one. So for that one to have sat in the car for 40, back to
Yeah.
your point, was
Exactly. Shoved in that paperwork as well. It was a really special memory, obviously for Winfield as well, with it, who it was and everything as well.
right,
It was lovely seeing the emotion through his face when when he was listening to those tapes.
right.
Okay, and I remember you said just been surprised about finding all the of Winfield's stuff.
Right. So, and when we found everything, so before we actually, before Isk even told me about the tapes, the cassette tapes, we have some really beautiful images that our still photographer Sean Murphy took,
Mm,
and after we found the Winfield tapes and transcribed them, and I was talking with our producer Carrie Ann Enright. Um, She said, "You know that idea with your table book that you wanna make, a table book of all the stills, because we have some spectacular archival images,
Mm.
and Sean took these great photos of those archival images, as
Uh-huh.
well as contemporary, images at the different uh, filming that we did in his
Mhm.
shop, at the car races, or everywhere that we went. So my producer was like, "Well, we should weave those conversations into those images and to the
Uh-huh.
book." So one transcribing and listening to when Ed talk and transcribing it was just a moment of transportation into another dimension. And then we were able to put this book together, a little book,
Mhm.
and it's really, really cool. And it has, I would love to send you a book. So,
Oh, wow,
of
yeah.
course, please, send me your address. But it's a really beautiful, um,
Mhm.
book with the photos and the conversation with Ed throughout the images, and I just, it was really, I think, beautiful, and would love to share it with you.
Yeah, I'll be honored, I really would. That's fantastic, another piece of great history.
Yes, yeah, I hope so. Right.
Well, his breakthroughs as well. I mean, he's got everything from his early cam grinding and hydraulic lifter cams and computer-aided designs, which he doesn't do as much of because it's all handmade, which I've found astonishing. It's all done by hand still. How did you make these? Because they can get quite technical, and gearheads, not like me, I'm not a gearhead, but in that, that in depth. How did you make those ideas digestible for the general audience? You obviously did because I understood it well.
Well, I mean, I really love hearing that. That's, because even though I love cars, in all honesty, I did not understand the technical aspects. So, but over the time of filming with him, I definitely had to ask him more than once. Now, how exactly does this work? And, the technical
Yeah.
aspects of it all. So, with Ed's understanding of it, and with what became my understanding of it, the working with an animator, I think really was able to put that together. It was a nice way to come into that world, and
Yeah.
fun, I hope. So I think it worked. I feel like it worked really well.
Well, from my point of view, I'd say it did. It does because you managed to connect to that audience really well. But I was just amazed it was all so handmade. And him at the time, age 99, and he was there still working away with everybody else and quite happily. He was rolling his sleeves up and and getting, and he wasn't slowing down. I don't think he probably hasn't. He probably still hasn't at
No.
104.
I will say the only difference is he'll take a Lyft or a taxi to the shop instead of driving himself.
Ah, right, yeah, because he's still got
But
that. Is it 1920s hot rod he's got?
his hot rod is, oh my gosh, it's escaping me as well. Bit nervous.
It's a 1920s model which he's got. I
Yeah,
think.
oh, no, definitely
Yeah,
the
it's,
20s,
it's still
yeah,
worked.
yeah.
Testament to his knowledge. And so, what part of his personality or story? Obviously, we just kind of touched on it there. Did you want viewers to connect with most?
Sorry,
Sorry, what part of Ed's personality did you really, or story, did you really want viewers to connect with most?
uh, okay, well, I hope that viewers in the audience will connect with his curiosity. He has this childlike curiosity that I experienced from day one when I met him,
Hmm.
and his interest in people and what's going on in the world, how things work. It is an inspiration. Uh, I don't think he had a cell phone when when I first met him.
Hmm.
But the minute that was like, came into his world, he bought two cell phones, and he was navigating the cell phones, more efficiently than I was at the time. So, yeah, I really hope that people will connect with his curiosity and his love for what he does.
Definitely, definitely. I mean, I completely forgot about his age because he was just so, when he was talking and the interviews they gave with him, and when he was talking about the enthusiasm, you just don't think you're listening to someone of that age, but the experience, those decades of experience, he just I don't think there's anything he doesn't know about that at all. And the respect that others have got for him as well. I mean, your passion for the subject obviously really shows in the film's got such a huge, strong sense of the character and history. So, it really does come out on that one. So it's a nice answer. I'm glad you've answered in that way because that's exactly kind of what I got from the film was it was a very, the huge dedication to this one man.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
what's the biggest challenge in bringing his nearly century-long story to the screen? Because it is, like, if we talked about it, it's nearly 100,
Oh,
90 odd years.
yes. Well, that, is exactly the, a moment of how do I bring over 100 years to one film. I will say I have, over 350 hours of footage.
Wow.
I did film him a lot. And then how do you take this man that has done all these incredible achievements, his innovations, his influence on an entire automotive era? I mean, he has influenced the art and science of performance racing. So, but then who I fell in love with was the human being.
Mhm.
Is who Isky is, and I wanted to paint a portrait of this man that wasn't afraid to dream and was so curious and passionate about speed, about life, about living, and so I really wanted to bridge that, you know,
Yeah.
this man that has influenced an entire automotive era to the human being, and that is caring, still involved in his community. And when you see him speaking with people and asking them questions,
Mhm.
that comes from his heart. He's really curious of what's going on with that person.
Yeah.
We just had a screening here in Los Angeles on a 70-foot screen. When I told him it's going to be on a 70-foot screen,
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, I'll go to that one then." There were some, a younger generation,
Mhm.
like, 19, 20, up to
Yeah.
22 years old that were complete fans of him.
Wow.
And when they came up to talk to him,
Mhm.
and tell him what they were doing,
Yeah.
his focus went right to them and what they were doing and, who they wanna be,
Mhm.
and so, yeah.
Uh, so that's really good, and obviously it's gonna give them the inspiration there as well. Because obviously I think this current timeline we've got is, I think, the younger generations, these younger generations coming. I'm saying I'm old now. The younger generation, they need they need a lot of inspiration because there's a lot of things that they could turn away from. So focus
Right,
positive like that and having someone as a role model because he is a perfect role model would be
right.
it's just an amazing thing for them to have.
I hope so. I hope at least here in America, it's not everybody's necessarily, best fit to go through school
Mhm.
or, for lack of other words, a typical education. But
Yeah.
some of us are meant to work with our hands. And whether
Mhm.
we are meant to work with our hands or not, having those classes, welding classes, it's part of who we are. Our brains develop with our hands, I believe, and our imagination,
Mhm.
our own curiosity. So, do hope that a younger generation is able to experience what Iski has done and who he is as a human being.
Fantastic. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I think we're doing that more here as well with apprenticeships and stuff. For the young to get into like engineering, mechanical, they can leave because fully, as I said, because they might not be academically in the way of maths and stuff like that, and they still have that over here where you've got to have those qualifications to get anywhere. But they're starting to realise that okay, some people are more artistically minded or mechanical minded, like you say with the hands. I do it with my hands all the time. You
Right.
do learn your hands, you get hands. So I do. I've been working 25 years in the field I work in. You can throw stuff at me, textbooks and stuff still, and obviously I'll read through them, but I'll just like put them aside, just get me into the job, let me get on, and I'll learn
Right.
as I go. And that's how a lot of people, that's how a lot of us do learn. It's just throw ourselves right into the midst of it and just learn and make mistakes and pick up and carry on. And that's a good way. They're probably the best way to learn how to do things in life.
Exactly. It's taking those chances. And when Iski says, it's it's where he says, "I'll just keep trying and maybe I'll stumble upon, maybe I'll stumble upon something."
Yeah.
And then, when it gets to bridging with NASCAR, I mean, imagine this, quote, uneducated, which he's not uneducated, but
Yeah.
self-taught man, you know, and then making that bridge of these hot rodders and just, mavericks trying to see how fast I can get a car to go with
Yeah.
NASCAR.
Well, yeah. Exactly. NASCAR's obviously, we don't say for that people over in the UK, it's not obviously it's not as big, but in America and in NASCAR is absolutely it's one of the massive, huge. I was gutted because I did go to America a few years, well, about 10 years ago, and had the chance to go to NASCAR, and we just didn't get time to do it. And I
Mm,
really wish it's one of the it would have been down in Florida, but it's one of those I would really, really want to go and see one if I can, because yeah, it looks phenomenally cool and dangerous.
yes, and but it is cool. It's as if, Isky and his Mavericks, just kept going with that age-old question, "How fast can I get this thing to go without killing myself?"
Exactly, exactly. So the film blends engineering history with human storytelling as well. So we've touched loads on that so far. How did you find the balance between the two? I know you said sometimes with the technical side you went to, get them to explain a few times.
Right, right. So merging the technical with the storytelling. Well, I'll say that, as you know, so many people admire Iski. And like you said, I think we've touched upon it, so influenced this automotive industry in a technical way, also in an artistic way. I would
Hmm.
say that Iski is an artist, but I think it's, to blend the engineering with the storytelling is Iski made that easy to do because who he is as a human being
Hmm.
and how much he cares about people, about what they're doing, uh, going to, you know, when someone passes, as Winfield did, and, taking with him everything that was possible to
Yeah.
one, connect with it, keep it. Uh, for example, yeah, they call it a Landis cam grinding machine. So it was Winfield's cam grinding machine when he got everything from Winfield. He also bought the
Oh,
cam grinding machine. Mm, you don't necessarily see it in the story, but Jeffrey Laham, who's one of our executive producers and is also in the film,
mhm.
it was during lunch, and he says, "Hey, Ed, I think I just found, Winfield's cam grinding machine." And then Ed is like, "Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've had that for a while." And Ed stops eating.
Oh
My crew is eating their lunch, and he starts unveiling the Winfield cam grinding
my
machine,
God.
which also, right, is there for over 40 years,
Yeah.
but it just that so it's that the engineering history and his who he is as a human being and his love for Winfield and still
Mhm.
having that. And so now that the cam grind at Winfield's cam grinding machine is at Speedway Motors in the museum.
Very,
And
very
we have the
awesome.
most beautiful photo of it that our
Mm.
still photographers.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. As I remember, that's part of the story. I remember him saying that's when he'd gone in the factory originally with Winfield and met him, and he's seen the grinding machine. And
Right.
he's looking at it, I could make one of those. I could make one
Right.
of those myself, and and that started where his passion grew from. Obviously, I think Winfield had a huge impact on him at that stage. So to actually have that machine still and go back and, like you say, take it, because his yard, when I was just laughed when he said all this yard, I just looked at, and then it pans out, doesn't it? And the size of that yard just filled with all this stuff that he's just bought and collected, everything to do with just it's like me with my little collections behind me. I've got the passion. You got you just start collecting, building and building it. And so that was, but yeah,
Right.
nowhere near the size of what he's got.
Oh, yeah, I've walked through the yards with him more than once, and, he remembers each one and
Always.
what he bought it for. He literally would go through everything, and maybe this would be good for a farmer. Maybe we get this working again, or to learn from it.
That's amazing considering how much stuff's there, and he knows exactly what it is. I know he did say in part of it goes, "We'll probably get most of them working again," and obviously computers, you should probably take over from there. I know with machines,
Right.
Yeah, to keep those alive, to keep those, well, not alive, to keep those going. Like you say, you've got the museum and everything, which you've got there now, and it's
Right.
just it's amazing, huge piece of automotive history. Yeah, he's kept going, and that he is a living legend of automotive history. Was there an interview or story? Because obviously you've done quite a few of the interviews through there as well with different various people and brought those on. Was there any of those which changed the way or helped you understand more of his legacy, Ned? The people who knew him or know him very closely.
Well, there in terms of the interviews that really changed the way I understood him, I would go back again to his relationship with Winfield.
Hmm.
I think today, when you go in for a job interview, they look at your resume, they look at what you have done, technically. But that relationship that he had with Winfield, it was about who he is as a person.
Hmm.
So while Ed doesn't have that formal education, he didn't do it alone. He had this mentor.
Yeah.
And I think, they really wanted to learn
Hmm.
and did help each other. Of course, there is competition and healthy competition, absolutely. But it was about learning and handing down the legacy and taking it to another level. Winfield said to Isky, I would have always been right there to help you if you had told me.
Yeah.
He did venture in and meet
Mhm.
him, and then later years having those conversations with him.
Yeah.
It's, it's like,
Imagine. Sorry,
yeah,
Carol.
yeah. It's even when I listen to them, I feel like I'm transported back to another world and a fly on the wall just right there with them.
That's amazing. So it's like that generation. It's not like cutthroat world of today, where, like you say, everyone just wants to make more money and get out and get out. There was the passion there, and like you said, is in the film where Winfield's talk about doesn't open his door to anyone, but anyone who will listen, who only wants to talk and ask questions. So, he's more than happy to bring them in and show them and talk to them. So it gives, which has just explained exactly what you've just gone. You've explained that there was just that knowledge sharing, that just for the betterment of the hot rod racing. To be honest, for their passion. They just didn't care about competition. They just wanted to get better the sport and make it better for everybody. Make it fun, like you say, go as fast as you can without killing.
Exactly.
Excellent. I mean, Ed's shaped his legacy is he's helped shape drag racing. He was co-founded SEMA. I think he was the first president. Was it the
He
first?
is.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
first, yeah, the first
very
president ever.
president.
He's still, and he's obviously influenced generations of builders as well. So, what do you think makes this legacy timeless? And I think we've already probably answered it. Is him, this person?
Yeah, and him wanting to pass it down too. And when I always had a vision of the story I wanted to tell.
Yeah.
I always was inspired by this man, I'll say it again, that dared to dream. But the other thing that I learned and experienced with him is he is a legacy. He is a legend and a part of this legacy, and he wants it to continue. He's always been there to help people, to teach people. And in the movie, you hear a little bit about top tuner tips, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, those top tuner tip booklets are
Mhm.
just that. They're like one booklet is one college education, is one college class.
Right.
There was so much information in there.
Yeah.
And he really wants to pass it down. And I remember him telling me one time, I've always been available. I'm
Hmm.
always here for people to come to the shop and
Yeah.
talk to me. And people didn't always realize that. But yeah, so to hand down that legacy and is something that is his legacy.
Yeah, yeah, okay. And it was lovely because I say the people who worked for him and the people who were interviewed, and they were saying if you don't know something, he would just come over and he'll show you happily. He'll take you through it as many times as you need it to be, so you can get it and get the hang of it. And say, and now, so say, you've got a whole, you've got generations now moving up who will also then carry that legacy on. When Isky's sadly long gone, that's going to continue, and that legacy will continue.
Exactly, and that too is where, his shop is a legacy of what he has influenced and created.
Mhm.
and, passing that down from, to other workers, to other enthusiasts, to other engineers, mechanics, and, of course, he was one of the first to actually get a computer as well. Like the computer that he had, so he had warehouses, right? And in the warehouse, he had these computers that literally touched the ceiling of the warehouse. So his interest in it, he's not afraid
Mm.
of progression, of
Yeah.
progressing, right?
Uh-huh.
And that's where I hope I was able to bring in that again, there is a place for the hands-on and the
Yeah.
trying things and as we, move into
Mhm.
the future. And I think, he envelops that in so many ways.
Really, really good. I'm just saying, and that's how what it comes across like as well. It really does. He sounds like I'd love to meet the man. He sounds so personable. He really will.
And I will introduce you to him. I would love it.
That'd be great. It really would. And what do you hope audiences, whether they're car lovers or not, or they're brand new to the scene, or just anyone just interested in watching and seeing a humanitarian, 'cause I'll call him that because of what he does with it. What would you hope they take away from it, from watching the ski?
That's a great question. I thought about that, through during the times of while I was filming, and I really hope that people will take away that if you love something, then you'll stick to it, and
Mhm.
and you will keep doing it. Sorry,
That's what I know.
I hope that the younger generation
Mhm.
will dream and follow their dreams. And I hope an older generation that will stay curious.
That's really lovely words. I can see why I get choked because it means so much to you, and it's true. It really is. People should never stop dreaming. And that's who we are. That's who we're supposed to be. So forget everything that's going on in the world. It's like you just keep those dreams alive and keep people like that. People and knowledge share, and just keep that thoughtfulness and that desire and that spark. That's the word I was looking for. That spark. That's what people have, and that's what you need to keep alive, no matter how old you are.
Exactly, exactly. And no matter what's happening in the world, to have those dreams and to follow them. And wow, when you really do love something, whether you're an artist, a teacher, in the business world, filmmaker, if you love
Mhm.
it, you have to do it. There just is no other choice.
Exactly, exactly. And a fun one to end for for question side of things is if you could take a ride in any hot rod running an Iskandarian cam, which one would you choose?
Well, I of course would pick Isky's hot rod from day one.
Yeah, I don't blame you after seeing it. He's fantastic, and obviously you'd be more than qualified to drive it as well with the cars that you've got.
Thank you. I hope so.
Excellent. And finally, in 3 words, how would you describe Ed Iskenderian?
3 words: curious,
Hmm.
imaginative, legend.
Wow. Yeah, excellent 3 words there. So, Cheyenne, thank you so much for joining me and bringing Ed's remarkable story to the screen. Isky not just celebrates the legendary innovator and person, it provides, oh, can't even speak, it preserves a vital chapter of his American automotive culture. So, everyone watching and listening, check out the links in the description because I'll share all your links as well through there and learn more about the films and where you can watch it. And obviously, if you enjoy the conversation, be sure to like, subscribe, and share the episode with anyone who loves great storytelling or incredible engineering history. Thanks for tuning in.